What's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pizzapia, and wouldn't it be nice to have a friend to go through your draft with? Well, guess what? Today, I'm that friend for you, and we're going to go on an unexpected journey through 20 rounds, and I'm going to tell you my favorite targets every single round for 20 rounds, the players that I want you to have, because I care about you so much, and I care about your fantasy team even more. But before we get to those names, I just want to remind you, if you leave a comment below here and you subscribe at FantasyPros MLB YouTube channel, you can have an opportunity for a free upgrade to FantasyPros Premium. Whether you're looking for custom mock drafts, salary cap draft tools, or in-depth analysis of your fantasy performance, FantasyPros Premium has the tools to help you win. Unlock the most powerful fantasy tools in the industry. And if you don't want to wait for the giveaway, I don't think you should, sign up today at fantasypros.com/premium and start playing smarter, not harder. So take my hand and let's go round by round to find the players that you need to dominate your leagues in 2023. Round 1, Shohei Ohtani, Los Angeles Angels starting pitcher / utility / DH / oh my god, this guy's doing something that no one's ever done in baseball in a century. And Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball. You don't need me to tell you that, but I'm going to remind you that despite the risk of him still pitching every fifth day and what that could do to his arm and then taking him out of the offensive side of fantasy as well, it is a risk worth taking because this guy's just on another planet and you're drafting two players at once. So as long as you have daily transactions or you're just getting all the points for Shohei Ohtani in that format, he is the guy to target in the first round without a doubt. Round 2, Fernando Tatis Jr., shortstop, San Diego Padres. In the words of Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. And you know what? Fernando Tatis Jr. is another risk I'm willing to take to be first in my league, because this is a guy that just 2 years ago hit 42 bombs in 130 games, stole 25 bags, and hit 280. He is a top 5 overall fantasy player, but he's going at an enormous discount this year. So as soon as that turn comes around in any draft, I'm taking Fernando Tatis Jr. Give me all the risk, give me all the upside. Despite the suspension for the first 2 weeks of the season, I want Tatis on my roster. Round 3, Spencer Strider, starting pitcher / relief pitcher of the Atlanta Braves. Now that slash is important because in mandatory leagues where you have an RP spot, let me tell you, Spencer Strider is even more valuable. He was absolutely filthy last year, striking out 202 batters in just 131 innings over 31 games. Now look, the innings will increase a little bit this year, hopefully get him to the 160 mark, and if that happens, we could be looking at 250 strikeouts. It's not absurd. The guy was unhittable last year, and he's a little bit cheaper than some of those top-tier aces on the board because he's still a little unproven. Sure, there's a little risk, but we're having fun, aren't we? It's fantasy baseball, so I want Spencer Strider in the third. Round 4, Randy Arozarena, outfielder, Tampa Bay Rays. Now, if you listened last year to a video I made when Randy Arozarena got off to a slow start, then you bought low on him and you did pretty well because he ended up with a 20 home run season, stealing 30 bags, and he also drove in 89 runs. This year, Wander Franco should be healthy back in that lineup. That certainly helps, but outfield is rough, so you better hit it early and often. Randy Arozarena is a great start with the power speed combo he brings, and I think he can get that average of 259 back up to that 270 range in 2023. Round 5, Luis Castillo, starting pitcher, Seattle Mariners. Luis Castillo is steady as she goes. Last year, over 25 starts, he was 8-6 with a 2.99 ERA, and I am buying what Seattle is selling this year. This is a really good rotation, so he doesn't have all the pressure of being the quote-unquote guy, which is probably a good thing for Castillo, but he has shown you in the past that he can strike out over 200 batters, give you a mid-3 ERA, and that is a really steady presence in your fantasy rotation, so take Castillo without any concerns. 6th round, Christian Javier, starting pitcher / reliever for the Houston Astros. Last year, this was one of my go-to targets in drafts, and it paid off. And this year, he's one of my must-haves if you watched my last video, and I gotta have him in the 6th round. If you're gonna give him to me, I will take him every single time. Last year, in 148 innings, he struck out 194 batters with a 2.54 ERA and a .95 whip. This guy is electric. So if I've got Javier, I've got Strider, and I've got Castillo, I've got the perfect mix of safe upside front and starting pitching with all sorts of ability to dominate in any head-to-head format I play in. Round 7, Corbin Carroll, outfielder of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yes, he has become the unofficial mascot of our show here on Fantasy Pros MLB, but with good reason. This guy had an elite 300, 400, 500 slash in the minor leagues. He is one of the fastest players in Major League Baseball, and the power is legit. I am telling you, it is real. Some of the fastest hands in the business, and the Arizona Diamondbacks just spent over $100 million extending this player, so it's time to take advantage of what might be the last time you can get him at any kind of discount. 7th round, Corbin Carroll, power, speed, runs, and plenty of at-bats at the top of that D-backs order. Yes, please. Round 8, Andres Gimenez, infielder for the Cleveland Guardians. Now, Andres Gimenez last year had a very quietly good season. 17 homers, 20 steals, and he hit .293. With batting average a hard thing to find, if he can sustain that mark and just improve a little bit on the 66 runs and 69 RBI, he's going to be an absolute steal at this value right now. He is going as the 83rd player overall, and I am all in on Andres Gimenez, and I like that he qualifies at second and short because it gives me a little bit of flexibility in my lineups when I need it. Round 9, Logan Gilbert, starting pitcher, Seattle Mariners. Yeah, I'm going with another Mariner here, and I'll tell you why, because Logan Gilbert last year was solid. Everybody's going after George Kirby, and they should, but let's not dismiss Logan Gilbert either here this late. As my 4th starting pitcher on this team, a 185 innings total, 13 Ws, 174 Ks, and just 49 walks with a 3.20 ERA and a 1.18 whip. Logan Gilbert is steady, he is solid, and I'm telling you, this Mariner team has a real shot at 90-plus wins in 2023. That's going to be good for my fantasy shares of Logan Gilbert. Round 10, Luis Severino, starting pitcher of the New York Yankees. Severino last year battled injuries, but battled his way back. In over 19 starts, he struck out 112 guys for the New York Yankees. This year, he's playing for a contract, and the Yankees are going to need him to step up, especially early in this year with Carlos Rodon starting the year on the IL. So this is the chance for Severino to get paid, and he's pitching for one of the best teams in baseball. So I want to make that investment right here because at ADP 109, that's a pretty easy sell. Round 11, Lance Lynn, starting pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. As you can see, I'm building a robust pitching staff here because you can need all the arms you could possibly get this season. After a dreadful opening to the year, which saw him have a 7 ERA, he was absolutely fantastic down the stretch over his last 14 starts with a 2.5 ERA. So Lance Lynn bounced back, and you might not have noticed that he did, but I did, so I want him on my team, and you should too. Round 12, Nick Castellanos, outfielder for the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, this is a little bit of a leap of faith here, but I think Nick Castellanos is just a far better hitter than we saw in 2022. He hit just .263 and only 13 home runs, but some of the deeper metrics on him still tell you that he could possibly bounce back. Now, he did steal 7 bases last year, which was not really his thing. In fact, that was a career high for him. And if you go back to 2021, where he hit 34 home runs, drove in 100, and also scored 95, I think there's a real possibility we can get something in between. Maybe a 25 home run season, 80 runs scored, 95 RBI, anything in that range. This is a huge value where you're getting Castellanos, and he's just frankly too good of a hitter in a hitter-friendly environment not to bounce back in 2023. Round 13, catcher William Contreras of the Milwaukee Brewers. No, not his brother. I want William Contreras. That's right. William Contreras last year for the Braves hit 20 bombs in 97 games, and this year he's going to a very hitter-friendly environment in Milwaukee. He had .278 last season. I think he's going to see a fair amount of at-bats again at that catcher position this year, and William Contreras can get it done. So this is a pretty good young hitter that I think is being grossly discounted. I want Contreras, and so should you for your fantasy squad. Round 14, Lucas Giolito, starting pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. Talk about a bounce back necessary. Ooh-wee, Lucas Giolito was not good last year. He had a 4.90 ERA, but I think a lot of it can be attributed to the weird offseason last year and putting on almost 35 pounds. This year he came into camp completely in shape. That is a good thing. And if you look at the track record, this is a guy with not one, but 2 recent 200-plus strikeout seasons under his belt. He had 3 straight years with an ERA of 3.5 or better. So I expect Lucas Giolito to get back on track and round out my fantasy rotation at an incredible value in the 14th round. Round 15, Jose Miranda, first base, third baseman for the Minnesota Twins. Now, not every pick needs to be super sexy. In fact, Jose Miranda is a little bit sort of bland, but you know what? I think there's upside for more with Miranda in 2023. A look over last year's 125 games in his rookie campaign, he more than held his own with a 268 batting average, hitting 15 bombs, driving in 66 runs. So Jose Miranda is going to be an everyday player in 2023 for the Twinkies. And I think if he gets to 150 games, there's a chance he gets to 20 home runs and probably gets those runs and RBI totals well over 75 each. And that's a very valuable player, especially with a decent batting average this late in the draft. Round 16, Andres Munoz, relief pitcher of the Seattle Mariners. Man, oh man, have I talked a lot about this guy. I'm surprised I haven't driven his ADP all the way through the roof yet. That means there's still time because he's still going somewhere in this range. Now, I would be more aggressive than this on Andres Munoz, but if you're going to give him to me here, I'm going to take him every single time. In fact, I'll take him twice on Sunday, which is probably illegal in most drafts, but I'm going to try anyway. Andres Munoz is absolutely unbelievable. 96 Ks last year in just 65 innings, completely dominant, a .89 whip. The guy is untouchable, unhittable, and he's adding another pitch. Are you kidding me? It's only a matter of time before he takes over closer duties, so save your draft capital at closer and just draft Andres Munoz instead. Round 17, Kodai Senga, New York Mets starting pitcher. Now, the ghost forkball looks pretty scary to start the season here in spring training. I will say this, Kodai Senga is going to have to be the number 3, strong in that Mets rotation, but the Mets have a good offense and a good defense, so Kodai Senga is at least a good early investment for the first half of the season. Worst case scenario, if you don't believe in what he's doing, you trade him in June for a boatload of other players. But right now, I think he's a good draft investment. He could get off to a hot start because the league isn't familiar with him, and he looks to be like the real deal, which could be an absolute steal for the Mets and for you this draft season. Round 18, Andrew Vaughn, first base / outfielder, Chicago White Sox. I've talked a lot about Andrew Vaughn. I'm telling you guys, a move back to first base, his natural position, is a good thing. This kid is an absolute stud who's been learning on the job at the big leagues for the last 2 years, and it's time for the breakout in 2023, and the breakout is free to invest in, so why not get on board with Andrew Vaughn? Round 19, Reed Detmers, starting pitcher, Los Angeles Angels. Last year, over 25 starts, Reed Detmers had a 3.77 ERA, a 1.21 whip, and struck out 122 batters in 129 innings. Most importantly, though, he made a lot of progress year over year, and he has solidified himself in that Angels rotation. He's not going anywhere, and there's a good chance Reed Detmers is going to go for 160 to 170 innings this year, and if he does that, you're going to get an enormous return on this late-round investment at starting pitcher. And finally, Round 20, Brandon Nimmo, outfielder for the New York Mets. Last year, Brandon Nimmo scored 100 runs for this Mets offense, had 16 homers, and even threw in a few stolen bases to boot. He had 274 last year, and in OBP formats, he is a winner. I'm telling you, this guy is great there, but he's still going to hit for a pretty decent batting average, somewhere between 275 and probably 290 this year. But most importantly, this is a good player who plays on a very good team at the top of the order. So runs scored are going to be there for Brandon Nimmo, and Brandon Nimmo is a nice way to round out this draft in round 20. Well, there you have it. Those are the players that I'm targeting in all 20 rounds going through the MLB draft this year, and I want to know who the players you're targeting in every draft. So comment below. Like I said, you might even win a free premium subscription if you do, and let me know the players you're targeting early, late. It's all fun. It's all conversation, and I want to hear from you. And don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. That'll do it for me, Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Happy drafting.